Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, we want to welcome you to a first ever midterm political show where Bulldog Media, which is our motto is Americans Fighting for America, are going to comment on the Kentucky local elections as well as make endorsements. With me today is the one and only Wesley Deters, president of Bulldog Media, and my running mate for governor, lieutenant governor. Wesley, I'm excited about doing this show. I hope you're excited.
I'm very excited.
I want to begin by telling everybody what we're going to do. I'm going to first make some comments about some things that are going on that I want everybody to know about. But then after that, I want everybody to know that we are going to go through a long list of local candidates, and we're going to endorse, and we're going to tell you who Bulldog Media supports and why. But I want to begin, so that's coming, so stick around. But I want to begin by commenting, Wesley, about the Enquirer article in Sunday's paper. The Cincinnati Enquirer has the nerve to do a front page story and then a full page on the inside, where the focus is, it is a dangerous, they used the word dangerous precedent,
right,
that Republicans in Northern Kentucky are being challenged by Republicans. They called it a dangerous precedent.
They did. They did not like the hostile takeover of the precinct reorganizations that occurred last summer. And all of these people are becoming very, very active, and they're engaging, and they're looking to run for public office. And a lot of the establishment incumbents are being challenged by these newcomers, and the Enquirer had the nerve to call these people out.
I mean, you know what? The media is always talking about getting people involved, people voting.
Right.
So here you have Republican primaries.
Get out the vote. Right.
I mean, that is the ultimate showing of democracy in action. And they actually called it a dangerous precedent.
Right.
And all the establishment people were like, how dare they challenge us? How dare? And then they said, is there something intrinsically wrong with the establishment? Well, there's something wrong with the establishment and intrinsically wrong with it if these people stay in office to stay in office and do a lousy job.
Right. Correct. I think they're most concerned about their livelihoods. These people are opportunistic. And whenever they have outsiders, particularly county party leaders, really joining in the fight and doing what they can to take on leadership roles, these incumbents really start to get nervous because they know that they've lost their base.
The other thing that I want to stress is 5/9/12/19, the Enquirer, and Link, the new newspaper Link. Northern Kentucky Tribune, all of our local news outlets all have sponsorships, all have advertising dollars and quote-unquote partners with the Northern Kentucky corporate elite and government. I mean, St. Elizabeth Medical Center has their tentacles into every single media outlet in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. Every single one of them. And that's not good. And they try to act like they are the keepers of what's going on. For example, they're all going to hate this show. They're all going to hate this show, Wesley.
The real gatekeeper of truth is Bulldog Media, because we are not beholden to anyone. We are not beholden to corporate sponsors. We are not beholden to St. Elizabeth. All you have to do is look at the donating sponsors of Link, for example, and that'll tell you everything you need to know.
Right. Also, we are unabashedly pro-Trump, which makes all of them disgusted. We want to stress that on May 4th, yesterday was the last day to register to vote. Mm-hmm. May 14th is a boots on the ground event with Trump bikers, and all of the local candidates that we are supporting are welcome to attend and speak. What else do we want to stress? We want to stress that we're going to do the same thing for Ohio. And we're also going to do the same thing for national candidates. Next week, we'll do the national candidates in Ohio next week, in Cincinnati area. But I also had May 17th down here. Why did I have May 17th? It's funny.
It's the voting day.
The voting day. Duh.
Primary.
Duh. That's why I did that. May 17th is the primary voting day. So make sure you mark your calendar on May 17th voting day. Now, let's get with it. Now, We're going to start with the congressional race. Claire Worth, what I'll do is I'll comment and turn it over to you.
Okay.
Claire Worth is running against Thomas Massey, the incumbent. Everybody knows who Thomas Massey is. And Alyssa McDowell and George Washington, which are candidates that appeared to be put. Alyssa McDowell did a video where she basically admitted that she was a Massey plant. I have always, in the past, supported Thomas Massey. I have always thought he was a good conservative libertarian, but I've soured on him of how he treated Trump. He seems to be like just a smart aleck. You know, he's the only vote against, he's one of 3 votes against federal anti-lynching laws, you know, Russian, you know, all that stuff. I just think that he never says anything in defense of Trump. And I've met Claire Worth. You've met Claire Worth. We've come to know Claire Worth. And Claire Worth is a true Trump supporter, a true conservative libertarian. She's a wonderful person.
She is.
And Bulldog Media is endorsing Claire Worth for Congress. And there might be people that say, well, that's bad to do because Thomas Massey's the safe conservative. We're not in this business of endorsing people because it's a safe choice. That's what the establishment does.
Right.
What do you want to say about this race?
I'm going to piggyback off what you just said. We endorse Claire because it's the right decision. Not because it's politically expedient or because it's popular. It's because she's a good person and she stands for the morals and values that we stand for at Bulldog Media. I agree with you that Massey is all talk, no action. As a person, he's very likable. He is a very, very smart man, and I enjoy his company. But when it comes down to it, he doesn't actually get anything done. Claire, on the other hand, has this amazing track record in the private sector of being very, very accomplished in the real estate market, and you know she's earned this nickname Builder Claire because she's a hands-on person. She does go after what she wants. She does get things done, and she chose to take on Big Bad Thomas because it was her moral obligation to do so. She's a very good person, and she's surrounded by very good people.
Something we want to stress: Claire Worth is the same on all the same policies as Massey, as far as pro-life. Pro-First Amendment, pro-Second Amendment, all those things. She doesn't need to do some smart aleck Christmas card to make that point. But we endorse Claire Worth proudly, and we ask everybody. By the way, what we're trying to do is we want everybody who's part of the Bulldog Media, Bulldog Nation family to know who we're for and why. Next up's Kentucky Supreme Court. It is Joe Fisher against Michelle Keller. And Joe Fisher is a nice, he's been around forever. I think he was Dayton or Bellevue city attorney forever. He's been a leader in the pro-life cause, conservative. He's a great guy, and he's running against Michelle Keller. And because I know the law, maybe this is going to be mainly my show on this one, but Michelle Keller is a pro-Joe Biden, pro-choice, liberal, woke justice. Do you believe that in Northern Kentucky? Northern Kentucky, you are currently represented by a complete liberal on the Kentucky Supreme Court. I mean, she did the rainbow lights outside her house. She was for the lockdown. She voted on the Kentucky Supreme Court against all of the battles that Chris Wiest and everybody else waged, you know, on the mandates, the masks, the kids. Michelle Keller was right there with all the liberals. And this has got to change. I mean, Joe Fisher is a great change. You want to make any comments on that?
I want to make one comment, and that comment is going to be, I went to the Campbell County Republican Party candidate forum, and both of these candidates were there, both Joe Fisher and Michelle Keller. Michelle Keller spoke to the audience and was not well received. She had a really hard time justifying her vote to not override Beshear's extensions and power, overriding power that he was using. And then she had a moment at the very end of her speech that concerned me. And actually, Eric pointed this out in a video last week. She didn't know what certificate of need was. And she didn't understand the impact that something like that would have on the state of Kentucky, particularly as it pertains to our healthcare systems. And so that was a huge concern of mine. Just kind of listening to her speak and feeling the crowd. She was not well received.
I remember you said that, and just for everybody to know, certificate of need is this process in Kentucky which keeps out competition in healthcare. For all of you in northern Kentucky that want healthcare competition, so it's not St. E's, I've come out as a governor candidate against the certificate of need process. It needs to end. Now, Michelle Keller came from a healthcare law firm. Mark Arnson, her mentor, who Mark Arnson is a great lawyer. So for her to be on the Kentucky Supreme Court and not know what certificate of need is, forget about it. Let me tell you something else. You're always going to get the inside baseball from us. I know that her daughter is a lawyer at DBL Law. DBL Law represents St. E's. Where do you think Michelle Keller is going to rule on anything as it relates to St. E's?
Mandates, vaccines.
Mandates, vaccines, all that.
Not advocate
all that.
Nurses.
And she never disclosed that either, did she? Nope. All right, moving on. By the way, these aren't in any particular order, okay? Well, we kind of just mixed them up. Anna Zinkhan, who is a candidate for Campbell County Judge Executive against Steve Pendery. We wholeheartedly support this woman.
She's great.
She takes care of horses. She only lost to Steve Pendery in 2018 by 500 votes. She is a fighter. She's a true conservative. Steve Pendery, my understanding is he's avoided going out and attending these forums.
Right.
You know, he is so stuck up. By the way, I got friends who belong to country clubs. That doesn't make them a bad person. But there's a difference between belonging to a country club and being a country clubber. Mm-hmm. Steve Pendery is the ultimate established, entitled country clubber that thinks he should stay Campbell County Judge Executive no matter what.
And he's very resentful of this sort of outsider takeover that's going on in Campbell County that we support. You know, we are generally for the outsider candidate. And Steve Pendery is one of those who refuses to participate in county level politics because all of these new Republicans are getting involved, and he's resentful over that. So Anna Zinkhan is a very, very good person. She's a sweetheart. She's in it for all the right reasons. She's a fighter. She's tough as nails, and we really have had great conversation with her.
I also want to let everybody, this show is going to be long, but don't worry. If you're a candidate that we endorse and you want a clip for your use in your campaign, text us, email us, and we will cut that clip out for you. So this is going to be long, but don't worry. We will break out the endorsement for you if you want it. You may not want the endorsement of Bulldog Media. Sorry, you're going to get it whether you like it or not. Next up is Chet Hand, candidate for Boone County Commissioner. And I met Chet for the first time at the Christmas Gala this year out at Boone County. Being an outsider myself, I quickly can judge somebody how they treat me because it's easy for people to say, well, that's the Bulldog, you know, maybe I shouldn't be nice to him. Chet Hand was nothing but courteous to me. His father is a general.
Yes.
He is the new Boone County Republican chairman, just like Anna is in Campbell County, which they act like because if you're the Boone County chairperson, you shouldn't run for a primary office, which why? Where's that in the rules? But Chet Hand is a sharp young man, and we wholeheartedly endorse Chet Hand. And I think you have much more to say about Chet than I do, so go ahead.
Yeah. So Chet is the newly elected GOP chair for Boone County. I recently moved to Boone County, so this is a little more personal to me. I don't know Chet one-to-one, but I can tell you that we have a lot of mutual friends and their opinions mean the world to me. What I can tell you about Chet is he is not for overly expanding Boone County's infrastructure. He does not believe in continuing the development that's going on. He believes Boone County is being overdeveloped right now. Chet lives on a farm with his wife. He has lots of little kids running around. He's a good farm boy, and he wants to preserve Boone County as it is. He's also a very morally driven person. So Chet Hand, you've got my vote in Boone County. Thank you for running. We here at Bulldog Media certainly endorse you.
Next up is Dave Fisher, who is a candidate for Campbell County Commissioner. Oh, by the way, who's Chet Hand running against?
Kenner.
Dave Fisher, which by the way, we don't have any animosity towards Kenner. We just prefer Chet Hand. David Fisher, candidate for Campbell County Commissioner, we also wholeheartedly endorse. Now, who is he running against? I forget their name, but apparently he's very much a Pendery guy. That's okay.
I don't remember.
That's okay. I don't either. But David Fisher's actually having an event tonight that I'm going to. But Dave Fisher, I think he's the vice chair of the Campbell County Republican Party. By the way, if we get some of these facts wrong, we apologize. But we want to stress that David Fisher will be, along with Anna Zinkhan, a change in Campbell County. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything you want to add about David? Okay. Phyllis Sparks, she's a candidate for Kentucky State Senate District 20 versus Jay Williams, Kaylin Studler, and Mike Templeman. We wholeheartedly support Phyllis, whether she likes it or not. Phyllis is a Boone County treasure. I just love Phyllis. She's tough, she's smart, she's fun, and I think she'll do a great job. Jay Williams this is funny because Jay Williams was part of the movement to clean up Boone County many years ago, but now he's part of that gang. And Mike Temple, I think, is from Shelby County, part of that area of the district, I think. But Phyllis Sparks, you want anything you got to add to that one?
I know Jay Williams because my mother ran his campaign in the 90s. So I've known a little bit about Jay for a long time. And, back in the
I don't have any issues with Jay.
I don't either.
I just prefer Phyllis.
He is a God-fearing man. He's a good man. But I'm going to tell you what, some of the concerns that these residents have are that he leans a little more establishment. And I think that in our political culture right now, we are trying to avoid that. Phyllis is an outsider. She's strong, she's outspoken, and she's gonna fight for what's best for this district. So yes, we are endorsing Phyllis over Jay Williams.
Next up is Myrna. It's Myrna, isn't it?
Myrna.
I always mispronounce her name. Myrna Eads, who, by the way, I've interviewed here with the nurses. She is running against Mike Kleins and Paul Cloker. And let me just tell you about, again, this is not anything against Kleins and Cloker. This is a pro-Myrna Eads endorsement. She is just something else. She was there from the beginning fighting the vax mandate from St. Elizabeth Medical Center, the masks issue. She is a freedom-loving American. She's out there working hard. She's walking door to door. I just love Myrna. Myrna Eads is the best.
Myrna is great. I have a great Myrna story. And just like you said, I can't tell you how many protests we have covered with Myrna. 5, 7, 8, 9, I have no idea, but she was at them all. At one particular protest last summer, it was the GE protest in the greater Cincinnati area. And if you recall, those protests spanned like 7 to 9 days over a 2-week period. It was kind of like a wraparound into 2 weeks. And it was raining one day, and we were driving up, and GE forced you to kind of park a mile away from the protest. So it was definitely a hassle for anyone who wanted to participate in those protests to have to walk that far just to get there. But from far away in the rain, I saw Myrna walking, and I pulled up and I offered to drive her up to the protest, and then I would go park my car. And her response to me was, "No, I want to plant all of these American flags every few feet all the way up in the pouring rain." And from that moment on, Myrna Eads stole my heart, and I know that she's a true patriot, and there is no one that's going to work harder than Myrna.
Yeah, she's the best.
She is.
Next up, we have Steve Rawlings, who's a candidate for Kentucky House Representative District 66. Wholeheartedly support Steve Rawlings. You know him very well. I've yet to meet him. I love his posts, by the way. But I want to speak about his opponent, Ed Massey. Ed Massey is anything that's gone wrong in the schools, Ed Massey's Mr. Education, Mr. Board Education, anything that you don't like that's gone on in your schools in the state of Kentucky, any county, but especially Boone County, Ed Massey is the reason why. Let me tell you something else that's a common denominator. I'm going to use something that our new friend Steve Cunningham from Campbell County says. Authenticity, genuine, real people. A common denominator of all of these people is they are what they are. They're genuine, they're authentic. They don't talk to you one way and somebody else the other way. I think that's why I get along with them so well, because, you know, we're going to show you all of our flaws and everything else, like even doing this show when we make a mistake. But Steve Rawlings is authentic. Ed Massey, you can't make this up, folks. You know, I love that phrase. Every time I've seen Ed Massey, he's always nice to me. Always nice to me. Then you know what he does? Gets another state rep to try to pass a law, which failed, targeting me personally. That is the ultimate phony political hack. That's what Ed Massey is. He's a phony.
He's a phony. He does not deserve to be in the position he's in. Steve Rawlings is a God-fearing man. He's a good man. He's a retired attorney. He came to our candidate open house. I was able to meet him there. He is of the Rawlings family, who is notorious for baseball, and they have all kinds of nonprofits all over the world. Steve is truly running for the right reasons. He had to be recruited. That's how you know that these are good people. They don't just, you know, step up to the plate half the time and look at it as an opportunity to further themselves. They really have to be convinced that it's the right thing to do for the county. And I live in Steve's district. I will be voting for Steve. He's such a good person, and I will proudly put a sign for Steve Rawlings in my yard. So Steve Rawlings over Ed Massey, no question.
Next up is Chris Mann, who Bulldog Media is endorsing against Kentucky House Representative 64 Kim Mosier, the incumbent. Now, this one I want to elaborate a little bit about. I have been friends with Neil Mosier, her husband, for a long time. He went to Latin school, got kicked out of Latin school for setting the dumpster on fire. Then Neil, he's a character, I like Neil, gets kicked out of Covington Catholic for blowing up a toilet with an M80. So he graduated from Dixie High School. Neil Mosier becomes a doctor. I was like, what? Neil Mosier from the big Mosier family. I knew his brother. Neil Mosier became my pulmonologist, my family pulmonologist. He was considered like a bulldog in medicine over law. Well, guess what? He sold out to St. E's. Sold his practice to St. E's. And instead of being an outlaw and standing strong like the Bulldog, he's become all about St. E's. And I understand from the Moms Cannabis, Julie Cantwell from Moms for Cannabis, that he's actually the head of the KMA right now. That's what she told me. Then you have Kim Mosier. Kim Mosier is the daughter of Floyd Poore, dear Democratic friend of mine, conservative, Kentucky Democrat, and the sister of the other Poore kids, and I'm friends with him. I'm friends with him. Kim Mosier comes to me when she runs. I only supported her, be candid with you, because of my relationship with the Poore Mosier family. First thing she does when she gets in there is try to pass tort reform. Tort reform. Restricting rewards for injured people. By the way, you ever notice Donald Trump never goes there like those Republican establishment people? So that's the first thing she does. So that soured me. Well, here's the latest that she did. She 100% for the vax mandate in St. E's. 100%. Her and her Dr. Neil, working for St. E's, of all the people that we are against in these races, she's numero uno. Mandate, mandate, mandate. So if you're someone who lives in this district, you need to vote for Chris Mann. Chris Mann is a businessman. He's not really well known, but he stepped up the plate to give her an opponent. Now, I want to read something to you that was sent to me by Julie Cantwell. So I got something else you need to know about her. Kim Mosier voted no in House Committee on House Bill 136, the medical cannabis bill. She claims Kentucky needs more studies on medical cannabis. Really? Think about all the studies in all these other states that have already gone on about medical cannabis. She filed a bill to place a cannabis research center at UK Hospital, which would bring federal funds Kentucky and seal her bid for re-election. We don't need a cannabis research center. We have 37 legal states that have done the research already. Why waste taxpayer funds on a cannabis research center? The KMA had 11 paid lobbyists working against medical cannabis this session. Guess who's the president of KMA? Neil Mosher. If you think that's shady, because it is, it's completely unethical. Kentucky patients are being kept sick so corrupt politicians can get richer. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Neil Mosher and Kim Mosher are corrupt. They're corrupt.
Yep.
They are manipulating this for their financial gain and advantage. Corrupt as hell. So I'm fired up about that. And these are things, I will guarantee you, most of you voters in this district did not know those two things about Kim Mosher. Go ahead, Wesley.
My biggest complaint about Kim Mosher is she's also been a dear family friend of my family's for years and years and years. Neil has been my husband's doctor. We know this family well. My mother actually got Kim into politics, and so this hits a little close to home for me. But my biggest concern and complaint about Kim is she revealed herself to me at the Kenton County reorg last summer when her and Scott Kimmich,
I forgot about that. That's the third strike against her.
Cheated and stole the reorg results from the people. And she was caught lying. She became extremely aggressive toward me to the point where her son had to get in the middle of us and she had to be escorted out of the parking lot because she was lunging at people. So she has a little temper. She doesn't like being called out, and she got caught lying on camera and she became extremely hostile. So I'm going to tell you what, Kim Mosher is not who she says she is. She's nasty. She's a snake. She's got to go.
And another thing about Kim Mosher, she's not a Trump. If you are a Trump voter, you should not vote for Kim Mosher. Period. She hates Trump. By the way, most of these people that we are supporting support Trump, and those are against him are not for Trump. But Kim Mosher, 3 strikes. By the way, just so you know, Boone County and Campbell County had a complete takeover of their political reorganization. Kenton County did not, only because of corruption in the process. Deters Law offered to file a lawsuit and challenge it for free, but they decided not to do it. And Kim and Neil Mosher were right in the middle of that. Strike 1. Strike 2 for hospital vaccine mandate, healthcare mandates. She's a nurse. She wanted those mandates. Strike 3, the cannabis issue. Corrupt as hell. By the way, the same time trying to act like she's my friend, she supported that bill Ed Massey had against me. Next up is Jared Likens, candidate for Kentucky House of Representatives District 61 against Savannah Maddox. This guy is a 3-tour war vet. I think he served in Iraq. This guy is something else. You talk about a great American. Now, let me set the stage for your comments. Savannah, I know so many of you love Savannah Maddox, constitutional conservative, okay? Well, let me tell you my problems with Savannah Maddox. In other words, she's going to agree on same issues for the most part as Jared Likens and Bulldog Media. We went down to cover her event with Thomas Massey at Beans. Can't make it up. She snubbed us. Wouldn't even talk to us. We're like, what? Then Beans had another event. She blackballed me from speaking at the Truckers Convoy. Then they had a legislative event. They blackballed us from covering it. So I'm not going to get into those nasty things I talked about her, but I did that because I think she's a phony. Unlike these authentic people like Jared Likens, Savannah Maddox has a double life. And she can act like she's this Christian, going to church gal, everything else. Well, that isn't who she really is. And I got the facts, folks. And there's more to come on that. But I want to focus on Jared Likens. He is a pro-American, pro-Trump guy. The other thing I like about him is he's not just a politician. Savannah Maddox is 34 years old, has never not held a political job. Even her husband, political job. And at 34, she's one of these climbers. You know, she wants to be the replacement for Thomas Massey. She wants to be governor. You know, it's like politician through and through and through. Mm-hmm. So that's setting that up for you.
Yeah. We met with Jared Likens. Jared Likens is a man who has presence.
Big time presence.
He walks into a room, and you can just tell that he was very dutiful to his country when he served overseas. He takes a lot of pride in that. He's not boastful. He is a family man first, and his priorities are in line. He's not a phony. He's running for the right reasons. And when you compare Jared Likens to Kamala Maddox side by side, what you see is a tale of two stories. You have Savannah, who clearly has some personal issues going on. There are a lot of rumors floating around about her.
It's not rumors, it's truth.
There are many concerns about her honesty. And then you have Jared Likens, who he's kind of an open book. He is who he is. He is a very strong presence, like I said, and that kind of leadership style and that kind of ability to kind of take over a room was very impressive to me. So we like Jared. Jared's great.
Next up is Marion Proctor. We endorse Marion Proctor, a candidate against the Kentucky House of Representatives District 30 against Sal Santoro. I've never met her. This is all yours, Wesley.
Marianne Proctor is a wonderful woman. She's another one who came out during the candidate open house. This is a Boone County district that we're looking at here. She's running against Sal Santoro. Sal Santoro is another Ed Massey type. He is one who's been in for way too long. Marianne lives in the Triple Crown area, and she was looking at being redistricted, actually. And one of those lines that we were concerned about was Savannah's line, ironically enough, that was getting pushed upward toward Triple Crown so that Savannah could capture more of that Triple Crown money. So that's how you also know that Savannah plays footsie with the establishment. But Marianne is from Texas originally. She is a firecracker. She is a fighter. She's definitely an outsider and was very, very unassuming, and came in here and has sort of taken this role. She's going door to door. She's outworking her opponent, Sal. And don't remember, Sal Santoro was for the gas tax. So you need to remember that because he will avoid that like the plague. But Marianne is definitely a champion for liberty. So Boone County, Marianne Proctor.
Back to Savannah Maddox for a second, too. You will never hear Savannah Maddox defend or say one positive word about Donald Trump. Another thing that it's very important, I think, to point out here is these incumbent candidates, establishment candidates, they're just like the national candidates, rhinos, who play footsie with corporate America. These establishment candidates play for our corporate people. St. Eads owns these people. Gary Moore, the Boone County Judge Executive, who I get along with, he's on the board of St. Eads. The Boone County newsletter that you get out, paid for by tax dollars, always has St. Eads on it. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. Okay, Jessica Neal, candidate for Kentucky State Senate District 24 versus Shelley Frommeyer and Chris Robinson. Again, I've never met Jessica Neal. Bulldog Media is endorsing her. Hearing nothing but great things. You take it.
Same. I've never spoken to her personally. I have heard her speak, and it was at the same forum when I heard Shelley Frommeyer speak. I was so disappointed in Shelley Frommeyer. She came across as just a lifelong politician. Jessica Neal, raw, authentic, young, fired up, willing to speak the truth, willing to come out against election fraud in Kentucky, willing to say that she's anti-mandate, anti-mask, anti-forced vaccine. She was the only one actually articulating those values. So Jessica Neal, you've got my vote. Way to go.
Andrew Cooper-Ryder, candidate for Kentucky Senate District 22 versus Donald Douglas. Everybody knows Cooper-Ryder in this district. He's the beans guy. He spoke at Freedom Fest this year. He's a patriotic American. Bulldog Media wholeheartedly endorses him. What would you like to add?
Andrew Cooper-Ryder is a candidate that did get redistricted. He is a victim to the lines being redrawn this year, and it threw him into a pivot mode where he had to reassess his candidacy and whether or not he wanted to go up against Donald Douglas, who is liked. But I'm going to tell you what, Andrew Cooperrider has got it straightened out. This guy, if you recall, refused to close his coffee shop during the forced lockdowns. He sued the governor many times. He's been in these legal battles with Bashir, which is very, very admirable. And as a result, his business saw an uptick, which is hilarious. Andrew Cooperrider is all over the state working his tail off. He's come here. I've interviewed him. I speak to him on occasion. I am a supporter of his. He is a true constitutionalist. He's an originalist. So he will interpret the Constitution as it was originally intended. Andrew Cooperrider, he is fearless and he has very, very clear vision for the future. And there is no question that Bulldog Media endorses Andrew Cooperrider.
Next up is Terry Schoberg, candidate for Kenton County Family Court. This is the case where Ben Duzing has been decided he cannot run, his votes won't be counted, and against Carl Knuckleman. I'll take this one. I've known Terry Schoberg for a long time in practice of law. She is, without any shadow of a doubt, the most qualified person for the candidate for family court. I'm not going to get into the Ben Duzing thing on this show. We've already covered that. I like Carl Knuckleman. I supported Carl Knuckleman over when he ran against the other domestic relations judge, Chris Mailing, and Knuckleman almost won. He didn't even campaign. But I'm for Terry Schoberg. Bulldog Media wholeheartedly endorses Terry Schoberg. You got anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. Next up, Danny Whiteacre, candidate for Kenton County Clerk versus Gabriel Summey. I would like to say something about this. Just for the record, if you speak to most lawyers off the record, if they're honest, they will tell you that Judge Summey, from day one, should not be a circuit judge. I mean, I can tell you the stories. They're going to be all in my other book, Armed with a Righteous Cause. Okay, so then, but she just keeps getting reelected. The Summey name in Kenton County. Mm-hmm. Then her sister, Gabriel Summey, is now elected the county clerk. And you know what? We'll swim upstream Bulldog Media all day long. The Summey name is a ballot box, beautiful name in Kenton County. It doesn't make it right. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not kidding you. Patsy Summey should have never, ever been a circuit judge. And she's been a circuit judge forever because her last name is Summey. Here we have Gabriel Summey as the county clerk. And are we going to let her be county clerk forever because her last name is Summey? I mean, Danny Whiteacre, we wholeheartedly endorse for some fresh blood and perspective. And I can guarantee you, once again, you think Gabriel Summey is a Trump conservative libertarian gal? Are you kidding me?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. That's a political opinion. I'm very confident Gabriel Summey is woke as can be. Kenton County, you're gonna keep electing a woker? Go ahead.
I admire Danny Whitaker just for the sheer fact that he's willing to take her on. Gabe Summey was absolutely, make no mistake, she was complicit in turning precinct officers away at the Kenton County reorg. She was not registering people properly at the door. She also held a
part of the conspirators.
Absolutely. And she also was introducing some of the voting machines for Kenton County, the ES&S software. And during that meeting, she had a really hard time justifying this new counting software. She does not seem to be for paper ballots at all, and that concerns me as well. So Gabe Summey, everyone's on to you, and Danny Whitaker, way to go. You're hilarious, by the way, for mimicking her signs all up and down Dixie Highway. I don't know if you noticed, Danny Whitaker's signs are just like Summey's signs, except it says Whitaker instead of Summey. So, Danny, way to go.
All right.
Thanks for stepping up.
I hope he wins.
Me too.
Steve Larson, candidate for Kenton County Jailer versus Mark Fields. Don't know Mark Fields. Steve Larson approached us. I did an interview with him. What a qualified guy. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead. I teased him about this. he's a serious man. I mean, he wasn't wanting to be jovial about anything. This guy is a serious man. But we wholeheartedly support Steve Larson for Kenton County Jailer. Any comments you'd like to have on that?
Only that when I speak to Steve, he is very receptive to feedback. He asks for help on occasion with his campaigning. And I will piggyback off what you said. Steve Larson is so qualified that sometimes he gets caught up in trying to justify his qualifications. He doesn't need to. It's obvious in how passionate he is and how clear he is on what needs to happen over there. He is very operationally minded, so he's going to be able to go over there and streamline everything and save the taxpayers money, which is numero uno in my book. Steve Larson, way to go. Keep up the fight. We're behind you.
Next up, this is personal for me. Anthony Schmiotti, Tony Schmiotti is how we know him, for Kenton County District 2 against John Drought. First, I have no problems with John Drought. John Drought is a gentleman. Everybody knows John Drought is a gentleman, but he's been there too long. And he is an establishment. Where do you think he's going to vote when it comes to St. Elizabeth Medical Center and everything else? Now, let me tell you why it's personal for me. First off, Tony Schmiotti hasn't contacted me, and I've been meaning to contact him. He may not want this endorsement. Too bad, Tony. Bulldog Media endorses you. Tony Schmiotti is the son of the former Kenton County Police Chief, Joe Schmiotti. His uncle is Jim Schmiotti. And his older brother, John Schmiotti, I think works at the Water District. And his oldest brother, Joe Schmiotti, works for Owen County Rural Electric, and was my best friend for many years as a teenager working on the farm together. He worked on the family farm with me, and I hung out with Joe Schmiotti for many years, and he was my best friend for many, many years. So here is Tony Schmiotti, a small businessman. By the way, I'm assuming if you all know Gary Holland. I think Tony Schmiotti is still very good friends with Gary Holland, the restaurant baron of Northern Kentucky in the state of Kentucky. You talk about a breath of fresh air. He's from Southern Kenton County. You talk about bringing some good, common sense, rural, American thinking to the Kenton County Commission. Tony Schmiotti over John Drought. And again, this is an endorsement of Schmiotti, not a negative towards Drought. The reason why we want to stress that, if you're somebody who supports some of these candidates that we're not endorsing, don't get mad at us. That's what politics is. It's supposed to be a preference. But we support wholeheartedly Anthony Schmiotti. You have anything to add to that one?
No, I don't know him.
Jerry Girding, candidate for Kentucky House Representatives 67 versus Rachel Roberts. We are endorsing Jerry Girding.
I don't know if he has an opponent. I think he's running unopposed in the primary.
Oh, he is unopposed in the primary. Rachel Roberts, general election.
Let me tell you about Rachel Roberts.
Okay.
I know Rachel. I know her personally. In fact, I mentored her. She was part of Bad Girl Ventures. And she's a yoga teacher. She is very poised and very polite. She's a great speaker. But when I tell you that she is left of left, she is really part of this ultra progressive left movement that we need to run away from.
And she's the incumbent.
She's the incumbent.
Let's all get behind Jerry Girding.
Everyone needs to unite behind Girding. And Rachel, I like you as a person, but our politics are not aligned. So we're going to be supporting Jerry Girding on this one.
Steve Doan is a candidate for Kentucky House Representative District 69 versus Adam Koenig. Let me kick this off. Steve Doan is no friend of mine. In fact, Steve Doan has said some bad things about me. I'm setting that aside. When you own a media company, there's times when, you can do what you want just to do it. And there's times when you can set aside things for the bigger picture. So despite that, by the way, Steve Doan hasn't asked for this endorsement. He may not want the endorsement. But we are endorsing Steve Doan. And more than anything else, this is one of those where it is definitely an opposition endorsement to Adam Koenig, who is establishment to the core, has been there forever, and you probably have much more to say about that, Wesley. Take it from here.
Adam Koenig is what you would call the swamp if there was a conservative swamp in the state of Kentucky. He, along with the likes of Ed Massey, I would even say Damon Thayer. You know, these are people who have been in their positions for far too long, who have played politics with our tax dollars and with our livelihoods for far too long. Adam Koenig is just about as bad as it gets in the state of Kentucky. He needs to go down. We want to throw our weight and our support behind Steve Doan strictly on the merit that he stepped up to the plate. He's giving him a primary, and nothing would be better than to see Adam Koenig out of office.
Yeah. Good for you, Steve, for stepping up and giving Koenig a primary.
Yep.
Stephanie Dietz, candidate for Kentucky House Representative 65 versus Charles Wheatley in the general election. We wholeheartedly support Stephanie Dietz. Stephanie Dietz is a very well-respected domestic relations lawyer. What does that mean? That means a lot of you are going to hate her guts because she maybe represented your ex-spouse. But we wholeheartedly support Stephanie Dietz. I practice law by the way, unlike other media companies, we're going to tell you when we have a personal issue or a bias or a prejudice. We're going to be candid about it. I always joke, why can't more media companies just say, well, we can't cover that because of this. But they never do it. So they act like they're not covering or they're covering for some noble reason. So just to let you know, I like her husband, Jim Dietz, who practices law at a big law firm now, but he does healthcare law. But Stephanie Dietz is an easy call over Charles Wheatley, who I'm sure is a lefty.
I don't know much about Stephanie personally. I know that we have a lot of mutual friends and a lot of mutual supporters. Stephanie comes across as a moral person, someone who's going to always try to do what she believes is right. She's a good girl. We have a lot of friends who, again, I respect their opinions. I respect Eric's opinion. Stephanie Dietz, we're voting for you.
Just to let you know, Stephanie's probably not, you're not going to find her as a big Trump person. I know that as well, but doesn't make any difference in this race. Very, very disappointed, and we tried, didn't we? Mm-hmm. By the way, when are the school board election filing deadlines?
I think they're in June.
Just to let you know, folks, we want to get candidates running against these local school boards across the board, especially Kenton County and Beechwood for me. Mm-hmm. Kim Banta, we tried. We could not get anybody to run against her. She ran unopposed in District 63. She's caught up in a little bit of mess with her husband and Bill Butler and Corporex, a little bit on the old charter school bill.
Yep. Sloppy.
Looked bad. And then Mark Hart, candidate for Kentucky House Representative District 8 unopposed. I don't know Mark Hart.
I don't know Mark Hart.
So ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, we want to thank you for joining the show. Remember, yesterday was the last day to register. Remember, we're going to have more. If you're a candidate to watch this, we will cut the clip for you. You can do it yourself, but if you'd like us to do it, we will. Remember, the primary is May 17th. Remember, May 14th at the farm, 13894 Madison Pike. Boots on the Ground Trump Bikers is having a rally. If you're somebody we endorsed, sorry, Kim Mosier will not be given the stage. If you're somebody we endorsed, let me know. I'll get you on the stage. September 10th, Freedom Fest. Mark your calendar on that. We're going to cover Cincinnati. We're going to cover Ohio. And we're going to cover the nation next week. Thank you for tuning in. Wesley, you did a great job.
Thank you.
And you're doing a great job at Bulldog Media, and I'm honored to have you as my running mate. This is the Bulldog with Wesley Deters. Every dog has their day. We hope all of the candidates we endorse have their day on May 17th.